Welcome to the deep dive. Forget just flipping burgers. Today we're uncovering how restaurants are flipping the script using something, well, even more powerful than a spatula data. We've got a fascinating mix of insights today, from broad overviews of data analytics in the industry to some really intriguing research.
Yeah, that one that crunches online reviews alongside hard sales numbers, right?
Exactly that one. Plus, a more grounded take on whether all this is even, doable for your neighborhood diner.
Right.
So our mission: to distill how this data isn't just numbers on a screen, but actual keys that unlock smarter decisions for restaurant owners and managers, moving beyond just gut feeling.
Exactly. The restaurant world is fiercely competitive, and efficiency isn't just the goal, it's essential for survival, really. We've gathered some great sources to explore how data is providing that crucial edge.
Okay.
That includes a look from Sculpture Hospitality at the sort of foundational benefits of restaurant data analytics. Then there's that really detailed academic paper you mentioned on the surprising power of combining online reviews with sales figures to predict how well a restaurant will actually do.
Interesting.
We've also got practical advice from Soupy on using data and AI to smarten up menus and supply chains. Delvage's perspective on the revolution data analytics is bringing to restaurant operations.
Okay.
That very down-to-earth discussion from a Reddit thread about whether data science is even realistic for smaller restaurants.
Good to have that perspective, too.
Oh, and we'll also touch on how 5-Out sales forecasting software uses predictive analytics. So yeah, it's a full menu of data insights today.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with the foundational ingredients, maybe. Sculpture Hospitality lays out a compelling argument for why data analytics has moved from a nice-to-have to a must-have. They highlight that an impressive 95% of restaurateurs see technology as a boost to efficiency. And the secret sauce, it's the data it delivers.
And what's fascinating here is the sheer range of ways this data can actually make a difference. Sculpture Hospitality point out that by really examining the details like what's selling, who's buying it, how much stock you have, how your staff is performing, restaurants can identify these hidden patterns and trends.
Right.
And those insights can directly lead to healthier profit margins and a stronger position against the competition. It's like turning over every stone in your business to find potential gold.
They break it down into 10 key benefits, and some of them immediately made me think, it's clever. Like enhancing the customer experience through personalized menus and service.
Yeah.
Based on what you've ordered before or feedback you've given, a restaurant could tailor your next experience, kind of like your favorite coffee shop, knowing your usual.
Exactly. If you can anticipate what a customer might enjoy or see patterns in their tastes, you're creating a much more tailored and satisfying visit. And this isn't just about making them happy. It's about building that stronger connection that keeps them coming back. Then there's the really crucial area of keeping your ingredients in check, inventory management.
Oh, yeah, huge. Sculpture Hospitality specifically mentions their own tools help track those stock levels, predict what you'll need, and flag any discrepancies. That sounds like a direct route to less waste and more cash in the bank. Like knowing exactly how many avocados you'll need next Tuesday based on last Tuesday's sales and, I don't know, the weather forecast.
Precisely. Efficient inventory management is such a tightrope walk, isn't it? Too much stock spoils, ties up your money.
Right.
Too little, and you disappoint customers. Data analytics provides that real-time understanding to help you find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just stop in the kitchen. It extends to how you get the word out.
Absolutely. Targeted marketing campaigns based on who your customers are and what they personalized emails that don't feel generic. Social media ads that actually resonate. Loyalty programs that reward the right behaviors. It's about making every marketing dollar count.
Definitely.
They also touch on something I hadn't immediately considered. The confidence data gives you when you're thinking about bringing in new technology.
That's a really insightful point. Investing in new tech can feel risky, right?
Yeah.
But having data that clearly shows the potential upside, maybe the ROI, makes those decisions much more informed and increases the chances of a successful integration. Then you get into the day-to-day grind of running the place.
Spotting bottlenecks in service, identifying where things might be slowing down in the kitchen, figuring out where staff might benefit from some extra training data can really illuminate those areas, leading to smoother operations and happier diners. And this is where it gets really interesting. predictive analysis.
This is where you're not just looking in the rearview mirror, you're trying to see what's coming down the road.
Yeah.
Right? Predicting what customers will want, when your busiest times will be, even potential hiccups. That allows for proactive planning. It gives restaurants a significant advantage. It's like knowing a storm is coming so you can adjust staffing and supplies beforehand.
It's like having a weather forecast specifically for your business.
Yeah.
They also highlight the impact on your bottom line, really digging into sales data and the cost of everything you're selling, your COGS.
Right, the cost of goods sold.
To understand and improve profitability. Plus, getting a clearer view of the overall market and what your competitors are doing, that's essential for staying relevant and knowing when it's time to shake things up.
Sure.
And finally, using data on service times and customer feedback to better manage staff performance and identify training needs. It really is a 360-degree view of your operation.
Yeah, all these pieces really paint a picture of how transformative data analytics can be for the restaurant industry. It's about shifting from just reacting to problems as they pop up to strategically optimizing every facet of the business.
Okay, now, let's sink our teeth into that research paper. The one exploring what happens when you blend online reviews with actual sales data. This feels like a much richer way to gauge how a restaurant is truly performing.
Yeah, I thought this was fascinating.
The paper starts by emphasizing just how crucial it is for restaurants to be in tune with their customer, given those high expectations and the sheer number of choices out there.
And what's particularly clever about their approach is that they propose bringing together the sort of immediate customer feedback you see on social media. They use TripAdvisor with the historical sales figures in a model designed to forecast future sales. Think of it as combining the buzz with the actual buying behavior to get a more complete picture.
And they actually tested this with real data.
Yeah, from 6 restaurants, which adds a lot of weight to their findings. They even created a dashboard based on it. And industry experts apparently found it genuinely helpful, especially for saving time when making important decisions.
That's impressive validation.
The paper makes an interesting point, too, that while we all know online reviews matter,
Sure.
there hasn't been as much in-depth research on their direct link to sales in restaurants compared to, say, hotels.
That's a good point. We see those star ratings everywhere, but how do they actually translate into revenue? So the researchers adapted this thing called the Bass Emotion Model, or BEM.
Yeah, the BEM. Think of it like a way to understand how new trends or ideas spread. It looks at how much influence comes from, like, initial excitement or advertising versus how much comes from word of mouth or seeing what others are doing.
Okay, like social contagion.
Kind of. They adapted that idea and used it to predict sales for these 6 restaurants in Portugal's Algarve region.
And they gathered a lot of data.
Oh, yeah. From restaurant management systems in TripAdvisor spanning over 2 years. They look at ratings, the actual text of the reviews when they were posted, info about the customers, even how many reviews each person had written before.
Wow, detailed.
And they categorized the restaurants luxury, fine dining, premium casual, which likely helped them see if these patterns differed based on the type of place.
Right. Now, here's a finding that jumped out at me. Their correlation analysis found a slightly negative link between business KPIs like customer numbers and revenue and their TripAdvisor ratings. That seems backwards.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But the restaurant managers they spoke with offered a really insightful explanation.
Ooh.
They suggested that when a restaurant gets really busy, the sheer volume of customers can sometimes lead to longer wait times or maybe a slight dip in service levels.
Ah, makes sense.
Which in turn can negatively impact customer satisfaction and those online ratings. Similarly, higher prices, maybe for special events or premium dishes, can create higher expectations.
Right, so even small hiccups get noticed more.
Exactly. It suggests this really delicate balancing act between being popular and maintaining that perceived quality.
That makes perfect sense, actually. More customers can strain resources, and higher prices mean less room for error in the customer's eyes. Okay, so they also use some pretty sophisticated text analysis.
Yeah, to really dig into those online reviews and figure out what was making customers happy and what was causing frustration, they use specialized tools. Think of them as digital detectives for language, using things like sentiment analysis to understand the specific words and emotions expressed. Going beyond just the star rating to understand the why.
The why behind the score.
Exactly. What specific aspects of the experience are resonating or falling short? They then proposed a new KPI, a new way to measure performance.
How did that work?
It combined the average rating, the overall positive or negative feeling of the review text, the sentiment polarity.
Yep.
how full the restaurant was relative to its capacity, and how well they were doing on revenue compared to their maximum potential. It's a much more rounded view than just looking at sales numbers alone.
So they weren't just looking at dollars or stars in isolation, but how they all connected.
Interesting.
Hmm.
And then they used that BIM model again.
Right. They used it to forecast how many customers the restaurants would likely have each month.
Yeah.
They used the average sentiment from the reviews as an indicator of that word-of-mouth influence
Wow.
and how much people were searching for those restaurants on Google as a sign of, like, external interest or buzz.
And how did those predictions turn out?
Well, they compared them with a more standard forecasting method and found that the BEM, incorporating that review sentiment, often did a better job of accurately predicting customer numbers.
So what people are saying online really does seem to have a tangible impact on future business.
It suggests so.
Yeah.
And to make all this useful, they designed that dashboard we mentioned. It visually presented all these key metrics, the drivers of satisfaction and dissatisfaction, using things like word networks,
Cool.
sentiment scores broken down by country, and those crucial sales forecasts. That sounds like an incredibly valuable tool for a manager to not only see where they stand, but understand why and get a glimpse into the future. Okay, let's switch gears now and look at that very different perspective, the Reddit thread. Is data science even realistic for small, independent spots?
Yeah, this is where we get a really important dose of reality, I think. While the potential of all this advanced data analysis is clear, the Reddit discussion brings up some very valid points about practicality.
Right. Can the average local cafe actually use this stuff?
Well, the general feeling on the thread seems to be that for many smaller operations, simpler solutions and basic analytics are often the most practical way to go.
Yeah, some commenters argue that, a few straightforward automation tools or maybe a basic dashboard for slightly larger places might be the extent of what's truly necessary or even feasible.
And a big reason for that is the sheer amount of data you often need to make complex machine learning algorithms work effectively. That's a critical constraint.
Right, ML needs lots of data.
Exactly. Machine learning thrives on large, consistent data sets. A single independent restaurant might just not generate that volume, or at least not in a clean, easily usable format.
So the suggestion is,
The Reddit thread suggests that focusing on solid foundational business practices, common sense, and readily available vendor solutions, platforms like Square or Toast for online ordering, advertising.
stuff they might already be using.
Precisely. Those might offer a better return on effort for smaller businesses. It's about figuring out what gives you the biggest impact without needing a dedicated data science team.
Makes sense. They even question whether things like basic loyalty programs or just keeping track of inventory necessarily require super sophisticated data science for a small operation.
Exactly. And many of the point-of-sale systems, the POS systems that small restaurants already use, like Toast and Square, often have built-in analytics features that can address their most pressing needs anyway.
So the tools might already be there, at least partially.
Potentially, yes. The thread also emphasizes that if a small restaurant is considering bringing in data science help, they need to be really clear about the specific business problems they're trying to solve.
Like what?
Like understanding why customers aren't returning, or maybe A/B testing different marketing approaches. You need a clear question before you look for a complex answer.
It's a good reminder that the solution should fit the scale and the specific challenges of the business. Now, we also had a brief mention from Nori about improving operations with data analysis. Not many specifics, but it fits the theme.
Absolutely. Even a general acknowledgement of the power of data in optimizing everything from staffing to ingredient management highlights how widely recognized its value is.
Then we have 5-Out sales forecasting software. This is a specific tool, right?
Yeah, built for restaurants, leaning heavily into predictive analytics. They claim they can predict sales with up to a pretty remarkable 98% accuracy using AI and machine learning.
98%, that's
Yeah.
high. How do they do that? They look at both internal data reservations, labor, past sales from the POS, and external factors, things like the weather, local traffic patterns, any big events happening nearby.
That combination of internal and external data points is probably key to getting more accurate forecasts.
Yeah.
So 5-Out emphasizes several benefits, starting with that more precise prediction of demand.
Right, which then allows restaurants to optimize their staffing and inventory much more efficiently.
So less overstaffing on slow nights
Yeah.
and fewer ingredients going to waste because you overestimated demand. That sounds like a direct improvement to the bottom line.
Definitely. They also mentioned streamlining operations, having the right staff at the right times, better inventory management, cutting down on spoilage, identifying other inefficiencies.
These kinds of tools can uncover patterns and insights that a manager, just observing day to day, might not readily see, helping them make data-backed decisions.
Yeah, moving beyond intuition again.
And like we heard from others, 5 Out also points out how this data can help with marketing, better understanding customer behavior, tailoring campaigns.
It all circles back to knowing your customer better and using that knowledge. They also reiterate the inventory point, less waste, lower costs, but they do bring up the challenges too.
Right. It's not always easy. Getting all your different systems to talk to each other, that data collection and integration piece can be a significant hurdle. You need good quality data flowing consistently.
And it's not just about the tech.
No, exactly. They also highlight that it's not just about having the tools. Your team needs the training and skills to understand the insights and actually take action. There needs to be a level of data literacy within the restaurant.
That's a really important point, the human element. Making all this data-driven stuff actually work requires people who can use it effectively. Okay, finally, let's look at how data is changing the way restaurants think about their menus. Soupy highlighted this.
Right, menu engineering. As he explained it, it's the strategic process of designing and pricing your menu to maximize profitability and maybe guide customers towards certain dishes.
The ones you want them to order.
Yeah. Traditionally, this might have relied on things like where items are placed on the page, maybe some general understanding of what people like. But now, data is playing a much bigger role.
So by really digging into sales data and profit margins, restaurants can categorize their menu items, right? Like the stars, plow horses.
Exactly. A classic framework. Stars are popular and profitable. Plow horses are popular but low margin. Puzzles are high profit but maybe less popular.
Need a nudge.
Yeah. And dogs are the ones that aren't selling well and aren't very profitable.
Yeah.
This framework gets a serious upgrade with real-time data.
How so?
Well, modern analytics allows for things like dynamic pricing, making adjustments based on how items are actually performing right now. Looking at your sales data clearly shows which dishes are your champions and which are lagging. It can reveal seasonal preferences, maybe unexpected pairings customers often order together.
And the advanced tools they mentioned sound incredibly useful, predicting demand to adjust pricing and stock.
Analyzing competitor pricing, running tests on price sensitivity.
Seeing how customers react before you roll out a change.
Exactly. Forecasting customer response to pricing strategies. Soupai themselves offer tools to help with this, like tracking recipe profitability in real time based on ingredient costs.
So you know instantly if rising food costs are killing your margins on a specific dish.
Precisely. They also have a costing simulator to help set target food cost percentages and figure out ideal menu prices. It's about making your menu a really strategic tool for driving profit.
Makes total sense. And Soupy also delves into how AI is making restaurant supply chains more efficient. This is another area where data can have a huge impact, maybe behind the scenes mostly.
Yeah, customers might not see it directly, but AI is really transforming procurement, how restaurants get their ingredients by making logistics and inventory management much smarter.
Yeah.
Predictive AI analytics can analyze huge amounts of past sales data, customer behavior, market trends, all to forecast demand much better, which, again, helps reduce both overstocking and those frustrating stockouts.
And the idea of integrating AI with the POS systems sounds like a real game changer.
It really does.
Yeah.
Allowing for instant adjustments to inventory needs, maybe even automatically placing purchase orders based on predicted demand and current stock levels.
That could free up a lot of manager time and reduce human error.
Definitely. Automated ordering systems that monitor levels and place orders when needed can really streamline the whole procurement process. Fewer delays, more accuracy. And AI-powered supply chain tracking gives you that real-time visibility.
Seeing where your inventory is, your shipments, how suppliers are performing.
Right. It enhances communication and allows for faster, more informed decisions if something goes wrong, like a delayed delivery. It's about having a much clearer picture of the entire journey of your ingredients.
From supplier to plate.
Exactly. And machine learning is key here too, sifting through all that data to find inefficiencies, predict needs with greater accuracy, and optimize orders over time.
And Soupy offers tools for this.
Yeah, they highlight their own tools, offering real-time reporting and forecast analytics to help predict ingredient needs and optimize ordering. It all points towards a more streamlined, cost-effective, and reliable supply chain.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's It's abundantly clear that data analytics, predictive analytics, and AI are offering really significant advantages for restaurants, big or small, it seems.
Yeah, the potential is huge.
From gaining that deeper understanding of what keeps customers coming back and fine-tuning menus, to smoothing out daily operations and making supply chains way more efficient.
Hmm.
And while the complexity of implementation might vary, like we heard in that Reddit discussion, the core principle of using data to inform decisions seems absolutely crucial now for staying competitive.
It really does. And that research combining sales data with online reviews,
Yeah.
it really underscores the power of getting that more holistic view, doesn't it? Seeing the whole picture of performance and future potential.
Yeah. What's really striking is how these different sources, looking at the industry from various angles, academic, vendor, practical discussion, they all arrive at the same central point. Data empowers better decisions.
Exactly. Whether it's a large chain leveraging sophisticated AI or, a local cafe using the basic analytics built into their POS system, understanding your numbers and your customers through data is no longer just a good idea.
It's becoming fundamental.
It's becoming the fundamental ingredient, you could say, for long-term success.
Okay, and on that thought, here's something to really chew on as we finish. As data becomes more and more accessible, how might even the smallest independent restaurants harness these tools and insights? Not just to stay afloat, but to truly flourish and maybe personalize the dining experience in ways we haven't even begun to imagine.
That's a great question.
What unexpected pieces of data, beyond just sales and reviews, might hold the secret to unlocking an even deeper understanding of their unique business and their loyal customers? Something to think about. Food for thought until our next deep dive.
If you'd like a free 30-minute data science consultation, feel free to contact me. All the links are available on my channel.